Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. And yes, it is back. Your favorite episodes of the podcast are now questions from Quora. And we are back with another episode. And if you don't know what questions from Quora is, by God, you have been missing some fitness and nutrition gold. Because Quora is this app where anybody and everybody in the world can ask any question they've ever had on their minds and get someone from the general public to come and answer it. Now, this leads us down huge rabbit warrens of genius and also huge black holes of stupidity. But we've come to know and love it because it generates some fucking fantastic questions that I just love delving into and giving you my take on what the hell is going on inside people's minds. So if this is the first questions from Quora you have experienced, I urge you, go back to some previous episodes because there's some gems in there that you've missed. Now, we are also going to answer one question that has some actual value as well at the end. But we're going to have 4 stupid questions and then we're going to come to the one that actually you might get some benefit from. And who knows? Somewhere in these thread of 4 questions, you may also find some nuggets of information as well. Maybe you're one of the people that actually thought this, and that is even more worrying. So let's crack on with question number 1. Do you think I'd lose weight if I ate whatever I wanted, but only swallowed every 4th bite? Now, that's a fucking brilliant question, that is, isn't it? Now, this is brilliant on so many different levels because this person has said, okay, I'm going to eat whatever I want. So I'm going to have pizza, I'm going to have chips, I'm going to have takeaway, McDonald's, whatever I want, cookies, the works. No holds barred. But first point in his head was, what if I just chew it and don't swallow it? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. That'd be brilliant. Then he's probably had like a little bit of a realization that, oh, hang on, if I don't eat any of it, then I won't be having any calories and I'll be starving and then I will need something to eat. So what about if I only ate every 4th bite? So I chewed 3 bites, spat it out, and then the 4th bite, I just have whatever I wanted. Now, why is someone even asking this question is really what baffles me. This is surely not something that a normal human being even contemplates. So my theory behind this, and I'll put the answer that I gave on the screen as well for those watching the video, is that, well, it depends what every 4th bite was, surely. So if every 4th bite he managed to ram in 1,000 calories worth of pizza, then probably he's going to struggle to stay in a calorie deficit over the course of a day. So it's just a stupid fucking question. And as I put it in my response, seems like a bit of an overcomplicated and nonsensical approach to me. But hey ho, if you want to try it, let me know how you get on. Let me know how you get on with swallowing every 4th bite and see if that is the new miracle. Maybe that's the new keto. Maybe that is the new diet we've all been missing. Cool. On to question number 2. Question number 2. Again, genius. Why are people thinking about this? When people are in a coma, that's right, we're going down the coma route here. When people are in a coma, how many calories do they consume? Fuck me. Now, the only reason why someone would contemplate asking this question, surely, is are they considering going into a coma to lose weight? Maybe if I get induced into a coma, I will consume less calories and therefore I won't be urged to eat anything because I'll be in a coma. Therefore, when I come out of that coma, I'll be the weight I want to be. Is that like the thought process that is going on here? Because it's crazy. It really is crazy. So I didn't really know how to respond to this one, but like I said, what I found is the more you respond to these stupid questions, the more stupid questions they send you. So I'm happily just responding to this shit. So I said, as much as they get fed, I guess. Logical, really? Logical answer. Now, reality is, if they were to be fed nothing, they're not moving, so it's just going to be at BMR. So that's where you would actually feed them to. What's their BMR on their current height, weight, age? They're not moving, completely sedentary, so you'd feed them at BMR to maintain weight. If this person is considering, well, maybe if I get into a coma, then maybe they'll help me into a calorie deficit, then I'm not sure that the doctors would actually go for that. I'm not sure it's an actual medically recognized strategy for weight loss. Cool. So let's move on to question 3. This was another brilliant one. Now, here's this question. What is the best way to lose weight? Now that is a fairly logical question, a fairly good question, and one that you would expect someone to put on some type of app like this. And for someone like me, as someone who helps people with their nutrition knowledge, to help them through those breakthroughs, those obstacles that they've been facing, so they can actually lose weight. It's a logical question. But, there's always a but. There's 2 words at the end that really caught my attention. And they are these. What is the best way to lose weight in 2019? Now, I really didn't get why they put the date at the end. Now, obviously, we're in 2019, so he's thinking, what's the best way to lose weight right now? But what difference does the year make? Now, unless he's thinking that there is some sort of magic pill that's going to be released in 2019 that we've not heard about yet, some magic fad diet that he hasn't yet come across. But my response to this guy was basically like this. The same way it was in 2018 and every year before. A calorie deficit. And that is going to be true whether it's 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26. You could keep going. Maybe in the future, they're going to develop some sort of magical thing that's going to actually help to create that calorie deficit in some sort of magical way. Maybe that's a thing. But it's probably still going to come down to a calorie deficit. Let's face it. So my advice to this guy on a deeper level is maybe not think about what's the hack for 2019 that you've not heard of yet. Maybe just focus on the basics, look at those calories, manage those calories and lose some weight. The kind of more, I guess, quote unquote normal way, which actually calorie deficit is not the most normal way. Most people go chase the supplement, the powder, the pill, the potion, and the actual way of doing this thing is sort of the last thing that they come across. But hey, now on to our fourth question. And this is a beauty. This is a beauty. I really enjoyed reading this question. Really enjoyed this one. And he's very, very specific. It's not like a very surface level question. There's some different levels to it, which I like. I like the more detailed nonsense. So, I ate about 12 unwashed, in bold letters, capital letters, unwashed. That's the key part. Sun-kissed. I think he means sun-kissed, but okay. Green grapes. So it's very descriptive. So that 12 unwashed, sun-kissed green grapes because my friend forgot to wash them. Silly friend. Or silly you. What will happen to me? Will I be okay? I am very scared. Now, that got out of hand quite quickly. You know, as Ron Burgundy said, that escalated quickly. So, 12 unwashed, sun-kissed green grapes. His friend forgot to wash them. He's now scared. What's going to happen to him? Will he be okay? Now, dude, as I said in my answer, I think you'll be fine. After all, you managed to type this question on the internet, so life can't be all that bad right now, can it? And maybe go see a doctor if you want some medical advice. Maybe, just maybe, if you're really that scared about being ill or dying from these 12 unwashed, sun-kissed green grapes, maybe you shouldn't seek your answer on a public question forum like Quora. Maybe you should go see a doctor, or just maybe get over it. There are 12 unwashed grapes. There's worse things in the world. But anyway, there were my questions from Quora before we then go and delve into an actual genuinely half decent question, which is it possible to gain muscle when in calorie deficit, consuming plenty of protein over 100 grams? Now, I like to pick certain questions within the Quora app like this, because that's a genuine question that a lot of people get, basically asking, can you build muscle in a calorie deficit? Now, the reason why I picked this question is that the answer that he got was fucking wrong. And it's by the same dude who, I think a couple of questions from Quora ago, wrote that protein is carbs. Whey protein is carbs. Yes, this dude is back, answering badass questions in a fucking horrendous way. So his basic thing was, no, you can't. He said you kind of can build muscle in a deficit, but he gave this whole roundabout reason why protein isn't the thing you should be focusing on. It's roundabout back to carbs and fucking fat. So it's crazy. And I think in one part of his response, he said, protein doesn't build muscle. Interesting. To which I commented, I'm interested to hear your theory behind that. I'm still waiting on that response though. I've got a feeling I might not get it. So let's go back to the actual question. Give this guy a bit more of a detailed answer as to, can he build muscle in a deficit? The answer is yes. You can absolutely build muscle in a calorie deficit. You need a couple of things though. You need training. You can't build any muscle, deficit, maintenance, surplus, or otherwise, without training. You need that training stimulus to create the opportunity for you then to build muscle. The second component part that you need is protein. Regardless of what dickhead says in this response, you do need protein to actually stimulate muscle protein synthesis, i.e. building new muscle, building new proteins. You need protein to be able to do that, specifically leucine, and that's contained within most or quite a lot of high protein foods to various different degrees. If you're a more sort of vegan, vegetarian, you're going to need more total protein if you're looking to specifically build muscle, because it generally has a lower leucine content. If you're consuming animal products and things like that, then your leucine content is probably going to be naturally quite higher. So that's what you really need in order to, those two component parts you need in order to be able to build muscle. Now, the key thing about, why you maybe don't want to try and focus specifically on building muscle in a calorie deficit are a couple of different reasons. Now, the main one being that it takes calories to build muscle. So not just protein, it takes calories, or to build muscle efficiently, it takes calories. So therefore, when you are in a surplus, there is a more abundance of calories in that situation because you are over consuming calories on purpose. Now, it's those additional calories that with the protein, with the training, all combined together creates the better environment for you to then build muscle in the most efficient way possible. And as long as you're not super overdoing it with the calorie surplus, you're not going to put on a ton of body fat as well. So there's that. There's about getting that balance right with the calories that you're consuming. So that's why you go into a calorie surplus in order to the most efficient way to build muscle. And when you are a much more trained individual, the process of building muscle becomes more difficult. Therefore, it makes a ton more sense for you to be in that calorie surplus, so you are optimizing that situation where you are building muscle, because you are really chasing finite marginal gains, marginal growth. It's not like you're in your first year of training where pretty much swinging a cat and swinging your pants around your head 3 times a day builds muscle. You are actually now struggling and grinding for a few pounds of muscle per year. So to try and do that in a deficit where the calories aren't as freely available is just not efficient and it's just almost going to be pointless to try and do it in a deficit, almost. So that would be the situation why you would generally tend towards a calorie surplus, because the availability of calories, the availability of nutrients to be able to facilitate that process in the most efficient way possible. But you can still build muscle in a deficit. When you are not a beginner, it becomes much more protracted. It becomes much longer, much more inefficient to do it that way. And therefore, the longer you train, the more likely you are going to try and build muscle at maintenance or in a slight surplus. That would make sense there. If you are a beginner, maybe you're in the whole skinny fat scenario where you haven't got much muscle, you've got a bit of body fat, you've not really trained that well or that often or even at all in the past. And therefore your main focus may be to drop some body fat. But because you're new, this whole brand new training stimulus that you're going to give your body with weight training is going to enable you to make some fast changes. Your body is going to start to adapt very, very quickly. And therefore, that's why you can tend to build muscle in a deficit. Obviously, if you're very skinny and you want to build muscle, then go straight into a surplus. Get the most optimum environment, build that muscle and go from there. And if you're unsure about kind of where you sit in this whole deficit, maintenance, surplus, then I would suggest heading over to ironparadisefitness.com/articles, where I've written one on cut or bulk. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that article, there is an infographic, which will be, it's a bit like a family tree, a decision tree type of picture, where you can say, well, it asks you a few questions and you say, am I this, am I that? And it will lead you down to the right path as to what you should be doing, whether it be deficit, maintenance or surplus. So that's where you kind of really need to focus. That's why you can, in certain situations, build muscle in a deficit, and why in other situations, you might find it's more optimal to be in a calorie surplus to build muscle, if that's for your primary goal. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. And I want to tell you before you go about a Lean Life Kickstarter pack that I've put together for you if you want to get on the journey to a leaner, healthier body. So if you go to ironparadisefitness.com/free-training-program, spelt the English way with double M-E at the end, then you can download a free 4-week training program. On day 2, I'll send you a guide on how to calculate your calories. I'll send you guides on how to combat cravings, how to stay lean while being busy at work. I'll also send you free recipe packs and a bunch of other stuff. So you can go there, you can download that for free, grab that, follow the training program. You can also get access to my free Facebook group where you can ask me a bunch of questions and I'll help you out and guide you on that journey as you start your journey to a leaner, healthier life. So I recommend you go grab that. And also, if you want to come and talk to me, ask me a bunch of questions and just follow me, what I do on Instagram, then you can find me at iron_paradise_fitness. But for now, I thank you for watching this. I thank you for listening to this, and keep living the lean life. And I'll see you on the next episode of the show.